something search. It's using computers. Since 1996.
Mum porn.
It could have been a man porn search. That's not that difficult. But in 1996, from 1996 onwards, a lot of people have devoted the time of their computers to run a little program which helps search for something very rare and extraordinary, which mathematicians are always... Prime numbers. Mathematicians... You just got in there. The great internet Mersenne prime search. Yeah. A Mersenne prime number is a very particular kind of prime number. What is a prime number, if you can
One that's divisible only by itself and 1.
Is the right answer. So we start with 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17... 19,
they go into
23,
numbers
etc. Yeah, exactly.
With thousands of digits,
they found like a million-digit prime,
well, 17 million. Way over 17 million digits. But the thing is, there's no system behind it. And great mathematicians like Erdos, the great Hungarian mathematicians, have always tried to find some system behind it. And to this day, computers are battling away, trying to find it.
So what's a Mersenne?
A Mersenne prime is a very particular prime. It's 2 to the power n, i.e. 2 to the power anything. So 2 squared, 2 cubed, 2 to the power 4, 2 to the power 5, minus 1. So 2 squared is 4, minus 1 is 3. That's a Mersenne prime. 5 is not a Mersenne prime, but 2 cubed, which is the next power up, is 8. Minus 1 is 7. That is a Mersenne prime. And the longest prime number as yet discovered, while I'm speaking, is 17,425,170 digits long. That's not the number itself, that's how many digits it is. You're right to oo, and to some extent you're right to R.
You'd be annoyed if your bill came to that in a restaurant.
And that is a Mersenne prime, which is what's so fascinating about it.
I'm excited now about maths in a way I've never been. Thank you.
Good. Well, there you are. That's it. GIMPS is searching for ever bigger prime numbers. Now, back to the front. This is the Goliath. Where did the driver sit?
It didn't have one.
Is the right answer.
Come on.
Yes. Quite right. If we zoom out, we can see that it is...
What's his name? Butlin.
Yeah. They are quite small tanks. It appears to have a Tommy there with his rifle slung.
I say, sir, what on earth are these? I've got no idea. Keep smiling.
But, well, you're right. They wouldn't know what they were. They just discovered them because they're not British. They are. In fact, it's the invention of...
The Hun?
The Hun, the Bosch, Jerry. It's an automatic, or at least remote-controlled tank, which is actually a mine known as Goliath. And they contained a bomb, and you remote-controlledly drove it into an enemy territory and...
Do those soldiers know they contain bombs?
I think they'd disarmed them by this time.
OK, good.
But in terms of miniature weapons of this kind, the Americans really beat the Germans in quite a disgusting way. Do you know the Davy Crockett?
Is it going to be a miniature sub?
It's worse than a miniature sub. It's a portable launcher.
Is it a suicide bomber raccoon?
It's a portable launcher to be mounted on a jeep. And what do you think it carried?
Bubble gum.
Bubble gum.
Oh.
A lavatory. I like the idea. It's good that you're thinking. No.
Who?
It was worse. It was a small nuclear bomb. Oh. You could actually carry a small nuclear bomb. 75 pounds only. And in case you wanted to know what 75 pounds was, it's the same as an 11-year-old boy, 5 racing bicycles, 100 cans of beer, 300 apples, or 262,500 bees.
That's like the worst ever conveyor belt on the Generations.
That's so true.
I'm glad you said that, because I always wonder what things are in bees. My favourite unit.
Over 250,000 bees. Yeah, there you are. 2,000 were deployed in Europe between 61 and 71 to deter the Soviet forces. The nuclear yield could be switched between 10 and 20 tons, which is a huge amount in terms of nuclear yield.
And were these things used?
No, fortunately. They also, the Special Forces, had something called the Special Atomic Demolition Munition, or SADM, rather bizarrely, which could be carried in a backpack. And these were backpack nukes.
Oh, what?
Yes, I know, it's weird, isn't it? On battlefronts ranging from Eastern Europe to Korea and Iran. Although small, each one of them was more powerful than the atomic bombs dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
You would be like Bagsy not carrying that one.
Yeah.
It's not my...
But lots of them were carried, but fortunately, none were used, as far as we know.
This show's really changed since WikiLeaks.
We've got so much more information at our hands. Thank you, Edward, again. It is astonishing, isn't it? It's amazing. As you say, a soldier carrying an atomic bomb with more power.
He looks like he's just set his off and it's ticking.
Yeah. I think we've sort of put that together because we don't actually have a shot of one with... But that's a soldier with a backpack.
What soldier?
Anyway, what's the best way to get shit out of a tank?
2 in the front, 2 in the back.
Fire it out the barrel?
Fire it out the barrel is the right answer! Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a war you don't want to be in, isn't it?
You could have waved your little Lou thing, because it is, of course, a lavatorial answer.
Which the Russians used to do, T-34s.
How did you know that? That's rather sick of you.
Yeah.
The T-34 is the bus from Twickenham to Kingston, isn't it?
And you can sling your shit out of the side of it every time.
It was a man called Alexander Georgievich Semenov of St. Petersburg, who was granted a patent for his method of bio-waste removal from isolated dwelling compartment of military facility and device for its implementation.
I tell you what, let's just stick an eye on front of that. There's sort of a million of them.
In plain English, it got rid of a tank crew's excrement by firing it out of the barrel at the enemy. And he described it thus: the military psychological positive effect takes place. Comprehension of the facts of delivering and distribution on enemy equipment and uniform, as well as the opportunity of informing other soldiers and the enemy about it. In other words, covering the enemy with shit is good for morale because it's funny.
I love the fact that that got like, way bigger. The idea of being hit with poo is much worse than the nuclear bomb.
But it is, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah, I go with it.
The 20 seconds after you've been hit by that is worse than 20 seconds after you've been hit by a nuclear bomb.
You're vaporised, exactly, or just what do you do with that? You vomit, it's horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible.
Beautiful story.
It is a lovely story, and I'm happy to share it with you. Now, what did the chap on the left here have that was twice as big as the chap on the right?
I don't know. Are these chaps inventors, Stephen?
No.
Is it to do with their beards?
No, they're both very famous. They're both 19th century.
Is
Are
it
they
the-
philosophers?
One of them won a Nobel Prize, the other didn't.
Oh, is it Nobel Prize cabinet?
You are faster than the speed of light, and No, it's not that, but it could easily be. Definitely deserve points for that. The one on the right was hugely fashionable for a time. His name is Anatole France, and he won the Nobel Prize for Literature. The one on the left was a great literary figure, still much more highly regarded as a literary figure than the one on the right.
Is it Twitter following?
Neither of them, to their eternal shame, has a Twitter following.
How do you win a Nobel Prize for Literature if you don't Twitter?
It seems inconceivable, doesn't it? I know, I know. The one on the left, his initials, though, are slightly to do with Twitter. His initials are IT.
Is he Russian?
Yes. So if it's I, it's got to be...
Igor.
Ivan. It's the right answer. Month in the country.
Turgenev?
Fathers and sons, Ivan Turgenev is the right answer. So you have Ivan Turgenev and you have Anatole France. One had something that was double the size of the other.
Is it right hand or left hand?
No, but you're right to be physical. It's about their bodies. Maybe
Well, everyone's
cock.
thinking it. They might as well go... No.
It's quite fun to sit here when the word penis just floats in.
The number of times that's happened to him, I don't know. It's not.
Brain.
Brain is the right answer. You bring back a few points to yourself.
Oh, come on, it must match up.
Well, that's the thing.
You can't lose more for saying cock than you get for saying brain.
You know that a klaxon Yeah, Turgenev's brain is twice the size of Anatole France's, or was, and Anatole France won the Nobel Prize and Turgenev didn't. Not that that's anything to do with it, but it is quite surprising, because generally speaking, it's held that brain size is to do with intelligence, although there are manifold exceptions. But in the case of Turgenev and Anatole France, well, Turgenev's brain was 4 pounds 6 ounces, and France's was 2 pounds 4 ounces, almost exactly half.
Can you feel the weight of your brain? Is that a thing?
Yes, I
If you've got a
can.
heavier brain,
Yeah.
is it...
It's really upsetting. Size isn't everything, it seems. However, just how small can you feel?
Right. So is this your ability to feel tininess?
It is, well spotted.
A human hair's pretty small.
Yeah.
Hairs are small, yeah.
You can't feel that if it's resting on your hand. But if you put it between your finger, you can.
Pollen. Can you feel pollen?
Depends what you're feeling it with.
Yes.
Look,
Yes.
I'm doing this. Look, I'm
You're
doing this.
using
Like
your
I'm playing a
fingertips,
tiny violin.
which are your best feely
Okay,
things.
fingertips.
So it was only in 2013 they started to do experiments, really, to try and find out. And they used a very, 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 very smooth surface to try and get the friction. And it's absolutely extraordinary what they discovered. And that is that we can feel with our fingers something as small as 13 nanometers high, which is to say the size of a single molecule, which in itself would be 10 times smaller than a bacterium. Fortunately, we can't feel bacteria, because that would drive us crazy, because they're everywhere.
We used to do that game at parties where you had to feel molecules, but you had to wear a big pair of gardening gloves as well. It's impossible.
But human fingers do this by sensing vibrations from the friction. And it is absolutely astonishing. And you can test it, because you can put something on a surface that's smooth and put these tiny things and say, stop when you feel it.
How smooth is smooth?
Yeah. Are we talking like Magic FM?
Let's
That's too smooth.
Too smooth.
Yeah.
let's butter your back, Stephen, and get some molecules on there. Let it all feel.
The research team created invisible wrinkles of 16 different heights. The smallest detectable ones were 7,000 times thinner than a sheet of paper. There you are. Makes you wonder, though, why we can never find the end of a roll of sellotape.
Hey.
How is that? Anyway, you'll be surprised just how small people feel sometimes. Now, fingers on buzzers, please, because it's time for general ignorance. Where is the second biggest film industry based?
Nigeria.
Oh, it's the right answer.
I was...
Were you going to say that? Very impressive. And so it is called, of course,
Nollywood.
Nollywood is the right answer. Absolutely right. Bollywood is the biggest. Nollywood is the second biggest. Nollywood was founded by Kenneth Nebwe in 1992 when he bought in a huge number of VHS cassettes from Taiwan. And he figured that he could sell them better if he put something on them, because they were blank. So he quickly made a film which was called Living in Bondage. And it was about a man who achieves power and wealth by killing his wife. But she comes back to haunt him and destroys his happiness and sanity. And it sold 750,000 copies. So immediately people started to follow his bandwagon. And this extraordinary studio system, well, it's not really a studio system because it has so few facilities, but it's incredibly successful. They turn out 30 films a week.
They churn them out, don't they?
Really
we
do.
once made a TV show in Nigeria, and we turned up, it was a quiz show, we turned up, there was a field, they built a studio, built everything inside it, we filmed it, they then dismantled the whole thing, and we all went home.
Really?
Yeah, for 1.5 hour TV pilot.
Was that Pointless Nigeria?
It wasn't Pointless Nigeria.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, which country's armed forces' official march is about a tramp by a pond being accosted by a farmer because he's stolen a sheep in his lunch bag?
Australia?
Oh, what a shame.
Sounds a bit like it, though, doesn't it?
It sounds exactly like it because it is an exact translation of
Waltzing
Waltzing Matilda. But Waltzing Matilda is not an official march in Australia, but it is the official march of a country's military.
Oh, I bet it's one of the African countries, isn't
It's
it?
not, bizarrely.
It's one of the Asian countries.
No.
It's like way deep down in
American.
South America.
No, that's the right area, except not south.
Caribbean. Central America, Nicaragua, like Honduras type place. Panama, I want to say Panama.
Belize. I'm going to say Belize. I'm going to say...
If you get it when I've done 15...
Belize.
El Salvador.
Costa Rica.
No, go big.
Mexico.
Even bigger.
America.
The United States of America. Amazingly.
Get out
The
of
1st Marine, the 1st Marine Division, there they are. They have...
Soldiers.
Yeah, the 1st
I
Marine...
love you. March to me.
I love she's just like, oh.
She's come out the wrong door.
That's my PA, Kelly.
Hats off.
The 1st Marine Division used Waltzing Matilda because of their relationship with the Australian Army in World War II. But there's no Australian military force that uses it officially. Of course, they can play what they like.
They were trying to have it as their national anthem, weren't they? But it was outvoted, I think.
By
Advance Australia Fair.
Advance Australia Fair, which is one of the official marches, the other being God Save the Queen. There's also the British Royal Tank Regiment's Slow March. So the fact is, if you hear Waltzing Matilda coming at you in an official capacity, it's Americans attacking you, not Aussies. Or our own chaps, but very slowly. When a chicken lays an egg, which end comes out first?
Oh, God, not answering.
The big end.
Yes!
Oh, shut up! I was going to say that!
We can actually... we've actually got a glove which sort of reproduces an oviduct, you know, a little egg-laying tube. So you can try and... What happens is, in utero, the egg is little end down, and then it turns round...
I'm going to start campaigning for epidurals for chickens.
There you are. You can let the big end out. Can you... Oh.
Are these hard
no,
boiled?
this is
Because
so
this is...
sore.
Oh,
I
there you
made
are.
one.
Oh, yes, you can. Oh, dear. It is a rubber egg, as you've been...
That's why you're not a hen gynecologist.
But you should have... Have you got a real egg down there?
I've got a real egg in a cup.
Oh, now be careful with the real egg. Put it over the
Why,
cup.
are they fragile, Stephen?
Well, no. They're not fragile, Alan. And if you obey this picture, put the egg in your hand like this and squeeze as hard as you like. You shouldn't be able to break it. Yeah. What do I got to do? Squeeze. As hard as you can to break it. But you can't, can you?
No.
Very, very strong. And that's the thing, eggs aren't very contrived at home, ladies and gentlemen.
If any of you had done it, I would have married you, goddammit.
How do they stamp them, Stephen?
Well, they've got a little thing inside their little hand. A little printing event that goes on just as it comes out, giving its best before date. Yeah.
The cartridges to refill a chicken are really...
Well, yes, you've rather revealed my
Meanwhile, on the chicken farm, Barnes Wallace.
And so, having spent a little time having it large with you all, it's time to look at the scores. Well, it's extraordinary, it's wonderful, it's terrific, and it's marvellous, because in first place, by quite a margin, that's to say by QI standards, it's Lucy Porter with 8 points! In second place, 5 behind, with +3, is Phil Jupiters. And surprising, given the depth and breadth of his knowledge, with -16 in third place is Richard Osman. But bringing up his all-too-familiar rear with -27 is Alan Davies. So it's thanks from Lucy, Phil, Richard, Alan and me, and I'll leave you with the last words of Nostradamus as he lay dying, probably making what was his only accurate and only unambiguous prediction. Tomorrow, I shall no longer be here. Good night.
Indulge in a bit of back chat with Jack Whitehall and his dad tomorrow at 10 here on BBC Two. The next tonight highlight